Hello everyone, welcome back to the Spider Talk News Show. This show is sponsored by Slightly Insulting. Spider-Man Dying Wish is out. It's been out for a while actually, but obviously if you are watching this on rerun or you're joining the live right now, make sure at some point after the show to go and watch Spider-Man Dying Wish on Slightly Insulting. Very good show. Obviously start with the first season. This is the third season, but you'll figure that out. Very good show. Very good show. You like Spider-Man? Anyway, so we have some major things to talk about today. Now, the topic list doesn't look that significant, but we have got a confirmed Venom 3 runtime. We've got some supposed filming dates for Spider-Man 4. We're going to be talking about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back once again. Some big updates on that. And also some Null stuff as well. Some of the co-creators of Null have seen Venom. It's looking good. We've got positive stuff to talk about there. Hi Flaming Phoenix, how are we doing? Stezzy, how are we doing? Hopefully we're all good. So yeah, I'm just going to share the stream around as you do. Just ignore me for 1 second. I'm sharing the stream about and then I'll get straight to it. If you guys could do the same, that'd be absolutely awesome. I'd greatly appreciate that. Streaming. I'm just posting at all my different channels. Right, anyway, yeah. So we got some big things to talk about today. So the topic list doesn't look too big, but we do have some big things to talk about. They are quite significant. Coming in from reliable sources as well, or semi-reliable sources. You guys can decide for yourselves. But anyway, yeah. First of all, how are you guys? How are you guys? Are you okay? I did talk about last week. I was gonna do a section of the show dedicated to comics. So at the end of this show, once I get to the end of the topic list, if you guys would like to see something to do with the comics, make sure to stick around. We can talk some comic books. Anthony Production, how we doing? Yeah, we could talk some comic books, and hopefully, you know, I'd love to get talking about Ultimate Spider-Man, maybe something along those lines. In fact, I'm going to do a poll for those of you just joining now. Would you like a comic section at the end of the stream? Shall that be a new segment to the show? Would you guys like to a comic section to the show? Let's just poll out there. We'll put a poll out there. There we go. Right? We'll put a poll out there. Trev says, awesome, glad to hear you're doing comic books. Are you looking forward to Joe Kelly writing The Amazing Spider-Man? I am actually, yes. I'm excited purely because it's new. I'm excited because it's something a bit different. I'm just excited to see something else other than Zeb Wells. Now, Zeb Wells, the last few issues have actually been okay. I personally think the Tombstone stories is actually pretty good. But I'm excited to see someone else handle Spider-Man and just see what direction it ends up going in. But obviously, we will have to see on that. So 100% yes. So you guys do want to see a comic section at the end here. He wrote one of the favorite cartoons growing up, Ben 10. Yeah, Joe Kelly's got a very good CV. Very, very good CV. Hope we get no more Paul, says Anthony. Well, we'll have to see on that one, won't we? But yeah. Anyway, I think we should just jump in straight to the topic. So obviously, if you've seen the thumbnail, more Spider-Man 4 updates. It's quite significant. But first, we're going to talk about Venom 3 because I just want to get this out the way with. But obviously, this does tie into Spider-Man 4 because these films are closely related at the moment. Venom 3's runtime is apparently 1.5 hours, or 1 hour 38 minutes to be precise, right? So if this runtime, a lot of people will say that doesn't seem long enough. But we have to remember, the first movie and Let There Be Carnage was around the same time. And those movies were what they were. So it makes sense that it's not 2 hours plus, 2.5 hours. I'm going to end this poll now. But the Venom 3 runtime it's quite short. The only thing that I think puts me off the Venom 3 runtime is the fact that they are handling Null, and they're handling Toxin, and Venom himself. There's a lot of characters in this movie. I don't expect there to be deep-lying motivations, underlying themes and everything to do with these characters. I don't expect there to be big, you know, I don't expect it to be the Godfather level of character development for all of these guys and stories. But at the same time, like, Null's a very big character. Toxin, you've been building him up. So it's one of them things, isn't it? Did you watch Transformers 1? I haven't watched Transformers 1, but I will be watching it this next week, hopefully, which is good. But either way, I'm going to put out a new poll. Is 1 hour 38 too short for Venom 3? Now, I do have a theory as to why it could be short. If Null is a big character, like a lot of people have been saying he is, maybe the reason why the Venom 3 runtime is so short is because Null appears as the villain in Spider-Man 4. Maybe he's only teased, maybe he's a cameo, maybe he's been built up. Null will be in 5 minutes tops, I guarantee it. That possibly could be the case. Imagine if we got Paul in Spider-Man 4. Oh, God. Don't do that to me, please, for the love of God. 1 hour 38, perfect for a TikTok attention span, says Apple. It's true, though. It's true. 1.5 hours for Null with no build-up. Wouldn't expect anything else from Sony, says Flaming Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, it's true, I guess, on some level, right? But this is the thing. Null's such a big character. But I don't know. Philip, don't manifest it. This is MG. Are you a big fan of Ben 10, says Emmanuel? I am I'm a huge fan of Ben 10. I did a few fan fictions of it on LewisFilms a while back. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I really, really hope at some point we get a live-action movie that's, you know, to a good standard, unlike the previous two that we've gotten. Didn't Tom Holland say there would be an announcement today? He did. Unfortunately, I have... he did. It was in his Instagram bio. I don't know when that's happening. It could happen midstream. If it does, someone tell me in the chat. But it hasn't happened yet, whatever it is. And if it has, it's not Spider-Man related because we'd know by now. Or at least I would, because I always check the news feed before I do these. But either way, so yeah, Venom 3 runtime. Now, how does this connect to Spider-Man 4? Well, of course, it has also been confirmed that Venom has 2 post-credit scenes. Yes, there will be 2 post-credit scenes in Venom. What's interesting about this, you say? Okay, well, I'll tell you. Get ready for this. Venom 3 is meant to be the last Venom movie. Tom Hardy has even confirmed this, saying he won't reprise his role in another Venom movie. Sony, Amy Pascal have confirmed this. There will not be a Venom 4. Venom 3 is the last one. And all the trailers, everything has been framing this as the last movie. But it's still got 2 post-credit scenes. That tells me 2 things. Well, actually, no, it tells me 1 thing. Number 1. No, why am I ordering it like I'm going to list them off? No, it tells me 1 thing. That Venom 3 is going to lead into Spider-Man 4. It's so obvious. Or it's going to, at the very least, lead into the MCU. Right? So, yeah. I'm worried about them making the actual suit, his new suit at the end of No Way Home, how it's going to look. I don't know what the announcement he will do, says Anthony. No, I don't think we do either. I'm praying all the powers that Venom doesn't cross over into the MCU. So this is what I'm saying, Apple. So the post-credit scene is most likely going to be the case that Venom comes into the MCU. And with all the rumors surrounding Null and Spider-Man 4, it's very likely that one of the post-credit scenes could be Venom in the MCU and the other could be Null plotting to try and sort of rule the multiverse and connect it to Spider-Man 4. So it all kind of lines up, right? A shorter runtime, a villain that needs a lot of build-up, but there's already a villain in this movie. Okay, he's being rumored for another movie. 2 post-credit scenes, it's all lining up, right? So I am worried. We'll see in 2 weeks, though, when the movie comes out. Are they ever going to reboot the MCU, says Trev? They will, I think, after Secret Wars. I think it'll be a soft reboot, but we'll find out very soon. I ain't seen Venom 3. I'm just going to see the post-credit scenes as Apple. That's fair enough. I'm guessing since Eddie Brock meets Peter in Spider-Man 4, the MCU Venom will be Matt Gargan. That could be the case, MG. You could be very, very right there. So 62% of you said yes on the poll. Which is very, very interesting. I'm going to put out another poll now. Will Venom cross over into the MCU? And me and my good friend Ray, who may or may not be in the stream, I don't know. He might be listening. We had a conversation today about Venom in the MCU, and he said something very interesting. Is that he thinks Kevin Feige, out of all the Sonyverse characters, believes Venom to be the one that they would most want in the MCU. And I can see that. I can see that. So this might be the way in. I think they'll have to eventually reboot the MCU, says Apple. Do you know what everything is going on in the MCU to watch Venom and the Spider-Man movies? Do you have to know? The Spider-Man movies, you probably benefit from watching stuff involving Iron Man, which I guess is most of the MCU. But for Venom, you don't have to watch anything else. Can you just jump in and watch them? I'd recommend, to get the full experience for MCU Spider-Man and sort of the idea surrounding it, I'd 100% recommend going in and watching the whole MCU up until that point. You don't have to. I'd probably recommend maybe Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Avengers, Age of Ultron, Civil War, and then I'd go for the Spider-Man movies. If you really want to limit it as much as possible. But just know that if you are watching the Avengers movies, and Civil War in particular, there are a few things for a few characters that you will be lost on. But either way, that's like the thinnest version you could do of it. But I do recommend that. Anyway. After Secret Wars, I can't see Spider-Man or many other characters reprising their roles. I can see Tom Holland reprising his role, to be fair. Is Spider-Man 5 now a street-level movie as fans? Yes, it's looking like it's going to be a street-level movie. For Spider-Man, you just need to watch the ones he's in, to be honest, as Apple. Because the reason I'm asking, I haven't caught up with the MCU that much. Yeah, I would recommend watching the whole MCU for the full experience. But like I said, those are the movies I think you need to watch to understand Spider-Man the most. It's just the Iron Man stuff, basically. I think Scorpion will appear in Spider-Man 4. Then near the third act, Eddie loses the symbiote and Null makes a Scorpion his Venom. That could be cool, says Berry. What if the little kid in Venom isn't Peter but Dylan, the son of Eddie? That could be interesting. I've seen all the MCU movies. I saw Endgame, the Endgame saga, but that's about it. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no, you don't need to see anything else then. You're pretty much caught up. I think Kevin Feige will be done with the contract BS with Sony after Secret Wars. To be honest with you, if they don't have the rights to Spider-Man by then definitely. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. It just depends. Isn't the lizard actor in Venom 3? He is, but he's not playing Dr. Connors as far as we know. Anyway, let's move on to Spider-Man 4 filming dates. So this is big. This comes in from Daniel RPK, who is trying to redeem himself in the leaker community after getting a few things wrong. But he does usually leak filming dates. He says that... I'll pull it up, actually. I'll quote the source for you wonderful people. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. Daniel RPK says Spider-Man 4 is expected to start filming in May 2025 and will finish around October. Hi, 24 Bricks. How are we doing? Using all the emojis there as he enters the chat very gracefully. How are we doing? Daniel RPK actually on Fraud Watch. Daniel RPK is interesting. He's got a few things wrong, but there's a reason why people refer to his sources is because... you know, he's one of the many people that built up a reputation for getting things right. So I don't think we can discount him. I just think we have to take it with a grain of salt. But filming dates isn't really a big thing. I don't think he'd have much reason to lie about it. But Spider-Man 4 is expected to start filming in May 2025, which is interesting, which means it would just coincide with releasing before Doomsday. So whether... Oh, sorry, in between Doomsday and Secret Wars... So, whether this is going to be a movie on Battleworld or is multiverse, it's looking very likely, isn't it, really? I know you like to talk about Spider-Man, me too. Have you ever thought about getting into DC? I do on LewisFilms Plus occasionally talk about DC. I do talk about DC on here sometimes. It's just obviously whenever we're just having general chat. But mostly Spider-Man, obviously. What's the Venom 3 runtime? I missed that, sorry. Oh, no worries, 24 Bricks. It is 1 hour, 38 minutes from Cryptic HD 4K quality, or whatever his name is. He's the guy who usually leaks the runtimes. By the way, is it true that it's called King in Black Spider-Man 4? It's rumored, but we were told to take it with a very big pinch of salt. So it could be that maybe a working title for the production right now. But it isn't confirmed whether that's the case or not just yet. Spider-Man 4 is going to suck so bad, says Big Spider in the corner of your room. God damn. I hope not. Yeah, okay. I'm going to end this poll here, and I'm going to start a new one. And I want you guys, for this poll, to tell me what you think and why. Will Spider-Man 4 be generally successful? I mean, critically, right? I'm talking critically here. I'll put that in quotation marks as well. And whether you put yes, whether you put no, I want you to tell me in the chat. Because I'm curious. I want your opinions here. This stretches far beyond yes or no. But click the poll and then let me know. The top right thing, can you explain what it is? Okay, so that is a Spider-Man show on the channel Slightly Insulting. It's called Spider-Man Dying Wish. It's a Minecraft show. Don't let that put you off because it's a really good story. I recommend you go and watch it. It's really cool. The actor for the lizard is Martin. It says in captions in the Venom trailer. It says Anthony Production. That's interesting. Martin. King and Black is an abysmal name if it happens. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. It's on the nose and it makes sense, but it's so uncreative. It's uncreative. It's uninspiring. It's awful. Do you believe the writers of Spider-Man 4 being the same as the home trilogy is a good decision? I do. I do. It's safe, but it's a good decision. I had faith when they said it would be street level, says Apple. Spider-Man 4 is gonna make money, obviously. They could title it Spider-Man The Toilet is My Home and it would do 1 billion easy, says Apple. Okay. Well, they could, to be fair. Okay, anyway, let's move on to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man 4. Now, of course, right, this comes up every week, but this is coming in from the Cosmic Circus. This has come from the Cosmic Circus. Now, Cosmic Circus, as we know, are reliable. We know they are. Alex Perez, he's gotten a load of things right before. Still take this with a grain of salt. But he's your go-to guy if you want, like, leaks that you can trust on the most part, right? At least I'm the one that I think, I trust him the most. He has said that Tobey and Andrew are most likely appearing in this movie. And he's almost concrete in this. Now, it wouldn't be as a big surprise, because Sony saw the success in Spider-Man No Way Home, and they obviously want to recreate that. But I just think it's interesting. You know, Alex Perez is saying pretty much, like, it's almost nailed on, right? And I don't know. What do you guys think about this? I do a poll every week on this. Almost every time we stream, I do a poll. But I'm going to do a poll here real quick. Sorry, I ended the other poll really quickly. Will Tobey and Andrew be in Spider-Man 4? I know I do a poll on this a lot, but it does change quite significantly based on the latest rumors and the leaks. You guys always have different opinions, and that's great. But I want to know where we're at right now, like with the situation with King of Black, with the situation with Venom 3, and all the new leaks that we're getting. What's your opinion on it now? Lewis, it's quite a personal thing, so no worries if you don't want to answer. But what job do you have recently joined alongside YouTube? I would answer that question, 24 bricks, but I'm actually not allowed to. So, yeah, I'm not allowed to say. But, or I don't think I'm allowed to say. That sounds really ominous. It's not ominous. I'm not like an underground crime lord or anything. Don't worry. I can't say, unfortunately. But yeah. Yeah. I would say if I could, but I can't, unfortunately. Financially, it's going to make a bank. If you use the multiverse as marketing gimmick and use the right characters, it will draw us all in. However, I don't think it will be rated well, says Flaming Phoenix. That's interesting. Yes, because people will see Spider-Man movies in theaters regardless if it's good or not. I have faith in Andrew. He will not return unless it's purposeful. It'll be successful financially. Critically, no. The hype will be there for a while, then fade after some video essay exposing all its flaws. Waiting for the high-top video essay when he says it's bad. That's what we're all waiting for. Money-wise, yes, because Spidey is cash. Plot-wise, also yes, because Marvel and Sony know out of all of the characters to adapt, they must not screw up with him. Otherwise, all is loss, says Berry. Should Spider-Man 6 show Peter Parker getting Fantastic Four as his new family, says Victor? Maybe at some point. I don't know. I don't really want them to return since it won't have the same effect as No Way Home. It worked in No Way Home because it was something we wanted for years. Doing it again feels so cheap. Apple hit the nail on the head there. It's true. It is true. I mean, I think we can all agree on that, right? I can see them in a post-credit scene. Sydney Sweeney ad came before I got here. Now I have to leave from... Good grief. Oh, no, not the new Sydney Sweeney advert. She's wild for doing that, by the way. She's crazy. I think if the script isn't there, they're not going to want them, but I'm pretty sure Sony will try to get them in this movie, says Flaming Phoenix. I'm hoping for it to be successful, but I don't want to wait for the Spider-Man 4 teaser trailer, maybe, says Anti Production. Do you think it's possible for the MCU to make a grounded multiverse movie. Yes, the Spider-Verse have done it. The Spider-Verse movies have done it very successfully, if not too successfully. It is possible. It's just, Sony want to go big, don't they, with the live action stuff. I think, with when it comes to the MCU movies, obviously it's a bit different. With the Spider-Verse movies, I think they just let Chris Miller and Phil Lord just go wild creatively. So yeah, Lewis NDA, is he writing for some comic book or movie? No, I'm not. I wish, and if I was, I wouldn't be able to contain it. I probably would have leaked it by now. I would have Tom Holland it. I'm waiting for the high top video essay. King and Black ruined MCU Spidey again. That's great. Yeah. How King in Black broke my heart. King in Black made me fall out of love with Spider-Man. That's what we're waiting for. I love High Top. High Top, please. I mean, you're not listening to this, but if you do, on the very, very, very slim chance, please come on my podcast. I don't have a podcast, but I'll make one. Please. I'd love to talk Spider-Man with you. Of course, Tobey and Andrew will be in Spider-Man 4, because we live in the age of shallow, meaningless cameos. Yeah, you're so right. Hello, how are we doing? Lewis, do you think Miles could be in Spider-Man 4? And if so, what do you think who will most likely play him? Miles could be in Spider-Man 4. It's very likely, based on rumors that we got just after No Way Home. Who would play him? I have no idea. It's probably going to be some really unknown actor, but one that ends up becoming iconic for his live-action adaptation, I imagine. Yeah. Sydney Sweeney, Black Cat, 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, greatest movie ever. Why did they kill Ultimate Spider-Man in the comics? Because they wanted to do something different, didn't they? They wanted to introduce Miles Morales, and they wanted to, they want to sort of do a legacy character, and it worked very well. Apple go wild in the chat, says MG. I'm speaking for the people. What about High Top? Hi, Lewis, says Super Warrior. Welcome to the stream. Should Miles Brown play Miles Morales in the MCU? He could be a good casting choice. Yeah, he could be. But anyway, let's move on. Well, actually, let's not move on. So let's look at the poll then. Wow, very, very split. 45% of you guys believe Tobey and Andrew will be in Spider-Man 4. 55 believe no. Why? I want to know in the chat. Let me know why do you think that. Is there a reason? Are you still keeping with Wells' Spider-Man run? I am. When it ends, I will do like sort of an in-review of it. A short in-review before I then catch up to it on my series that I'm doing, where I'm reviewing all the runs. And then I'll do an in-depth one. But I will do a sort of in-review of Wells' run once it ends, which is in a few issues' time. But I am keeping up on it, yes. Miles Morales might be what they do after the reboot. Ooh, if they reboot, they could do Miles Morales. Yeah, that is true. What's the most brutal Spider-Man fight in the comics, in your opinion? Ooh. Good question. There's so many, though, isn't there? There's so many. I do think we're going to get a very brutal fight in Ultimate Spider-Man between Spider-Man and Goblin. When that happens, that's going to be wild. What's going on with High Top other than the fact that his Spidey video is so... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Nothing's going on with High Top. We were just saying... that when Spider-Man 4 comes out, we're imagining the title to his videos when Spider-Man 4... How King and Black broke my heart or something funny like that. How excited are you for Marvel Spider-Man 3, says Victor? Very excited. Well, I'm not as hyped as I was for the second one. Just because I think the second one wasn't as great as the first. So, I'm a little bit skeptical about 3, but, still excited. Some of us don't have trust in Sony, says Dominic. Lewis is definitely working for Wilson Fisk. That is my new job. I am working for Wilson Fisk in the Magic crime family in the underground underbelly of New York City. That's what I'm doing. I'm flying out tomorrow, by the way. Does Peter get a new best friend after Harry dies in the original comics? What about Ultimate? Well, Aaron, see, the thing is, in the comics, it ebbs and flows a lot. between different characters that Peter has relationships with. At the moment in the comics, or the last few years or so, he sort of had that relationship with Randy. And it's been interesting, but they haven't expanded upon it as much as I probably wanted them to. In the Ultimate Comics, him and Harry are definitely going to come to blows, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do after that. He worships Raimi's Spider-Man and acts like MCU Spider-Man is the worst thing ever, says Super Warrior. It's a very harsh way of criticizing his videos. Critiquing, that was the word I was after. King in Black made me go to therapy. Yes, yes, I love it. Yes, that's the one. That's the one. No, I think that's a harsh way, Super Warrior. I think he genuinely, he has his reasons, and I've watched his videos, many times, and I do think he has some good points. I agree with him mostly on Far From Home. No Way Home, I don't. Homecoming, I don't agree with him at all. No Way Home, I can see, maybe slightly. Far From Home, I do agree on the most part. I think that's kind of where I'm at with High Top. But I think he's overly critical on those movies. I think it's because it's in a new style that he doesn't like. I don't know. There's definitely something else behind it. But, I respect his opinion. I honestly, High Top's title, Spider-Man 4 broke me again. Right, okay, right, guys, in the chat right now. If Spider-Man 4 sucks really bad, what is High Top's title? Let me know in the chat. What is High Top's title going to be? There's some bangers in here. I honestly love Homecoming. It might be my favorite live-action movie. Could do a little less Iron Man obsession. Real serious question. Which Spidey supervillain would you want and not want to work for? Hey, yo, Emmanuel. Okay. I would definitely not want to work for Wilson Fisk because I feel like the chances of death are very high. Who would I want to work for? You know what? I'd like to work for Norman Osborn because I imagine being like an Oscorp scientist. That's good money, good wages, right? I think that's probably your safest bet, right? I mean, you might die in some kind of Oscorp explosion or some kind of testing thing, but like, it's better than being sort of a criminal in the streets for Wilson Fisk. You know what I mean? No, because I don't want a nostalgia movie, says Anthony. Can you do a What If Peter Never Died in the Ultimate Universe? I could do it at some point, yeah. I just don't like his vid, says Super Warrior. That's fair. We need a Spider-Man versus Kingpin fight in prison, just like what happens in the comic. Do you like the idea of Sandman being Uncle Ben killer or just a random thief? A random thief, mainly. Well, no. Sandman being his killer is fine. It's just the way they changed it, which I didn't like. If Sandman was Uncle Ben's killer and then turned into a villain, I think that's a really interesting story that I think could be explored in an adaptation. Or some villain. Like if a villain actually killed Uncle Ben instead of a random thief, I think that's an interesting story. Yeah. Okay, here we go. We got some titles. Spider-Man King in Black made me like Far From Home. Okay. Okay, that's good. I like that one. MCU Spider-Man made me depressed. I think out of all Spider-Man villains, Sandman deserves redemption, says Dominic. Yep. MG says Spider-Man 4 killed me. 24 Brick says Spider-Man King in Black made Holly leave me for null. Holly's my fiance, if you don't know. Oh, that's great. That's going to be my title for my Spider-Man 4 review. Spider-Man 4 made me leave Holly for null. That's great. Have you seen my what if suggestions? If so, what are your thoughts? I haven't seen your what if suggestions. Post them in the chat, by the way. Sandman being his killer is fine. It's just this, if the setup was well, says Apple. Work for Fisk, illegal crime activities. Work for Osborn, legal crime activities. Exactly, right? It's legal. It's illegal, but there's layers to it. Spider-Man Noir Sandman is a villain. Yes, he is. That's going to be interesting. I would like Cletus Cassidy being Uncle Ben Killer. Do you? I genuinely thought, by the way, when they were doing the TASM universe, I thought that Cletus Cassidy was going to be Uncle Ben's killer. Like, I thought that was going to be revealed. Because they were meant to do the Venom movie that came out with Tom Hardy. That was meant to be in the TASM universe. And Carnage was meant to be the villain of that movie, the first one. And that's how I really thought that's how it was going to go. Like, kid me thought that's how it was going to go. Spider-Man 4 King and Black made me leave with no choice but to leave null and go to therapy. Yep, sounds about right. Carnage killing Uncle Ben would be brutal, says Dominic. Do you guys have faith in the Spider-Man Noir series? I think it looks pretty good. I think it's going to go very under the radar. How did you feel when Peter almost died in Marvel Spider-Man 2? He's got plot armor. He wasn't going to die. Spider-Man King in Black, bring back emo Venom, says Henry. I'm going to be honest, I didn't like MCU Spidey except for, of course, No Way Home. IDK, I didn't like the writing and some of the corny acting. It didn't really scream Spider-Man for me. That's fair enough. Insomniac Spider-Man, what if ideas? What if Miles got the symbiote instead of Peter? What if Finn Mason survived? Some good what if ideas there. But anyway, let's move on from the Andrew and Tobey stuff. Let's go to Null. So we've had praise for Null in the last few weeks anyway. But the Null co-creator has come out and said that he's seen Venom 3 and he's hyping him up. So, I don't know. Are you guys excited for Null? Do you think Null is going to be a good character? Let's end that poll and let's create a new poll. Let's get a new poll about Null. Will Null be handled right in Venom 3? This is a question. Let's have a look. Null should be a villain in, like, Spider-Man 6, says Apple. Yeah, probably. Lewis, I can remember... do you like Homecoming and TASM 1? I rewatched both recently, or a 10 out of 10 for me. Yes, I do. I kind of switch between them, to be fair. I really love TASM 1. I love the vibe. I've got a guilty pleasure for TASM 1. TASM 1, I grew up on it. The back end of my childhood, I grew up on it. It wasn't... I grew up on the Raimi movies, but... TASM 1 was, yeah, it's a great movie. I love the aesthetic of it. I love the vibe, the atmosphere of it. I love Andrew Garfield. I love Emma Stone. Yeah, it's a great movie. Homecoming, I love the youthfulness to it. It brings a new energy to Spider-Man. So they both have their own quirks. Yeah. He definitely got paid to hype it up. Andrew and Tobey shouldn't return in MCU Spider-Man 4 because it would ruin No Way Home, says Victor. It's a very good point. This is what a lot of people are talking about. Imagine if Cletus Cassidy in Insomniac Universe is Uncle Ben's killer. I mean, I think Peter would have recognized him, possibly. I'm assuming Peter caught Uncle Ben's killer. I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, if that was a storyline. Wait, what happened to the Craven movie? Yeah, it's coming out in November. What's your favorite Marvel event? Recently, I really liked the idea of Judgment Day. I think that's a really cool idea. Like, just the idea of having the characters have to relive something and move on. And I think it's got really good story potential. I would have liked a little bit more from the Spider-Man side of things, but yeah. TASM 2 is visually stunning, says Apple. Will Insomniac Spider-Man will they make an Origin Insomniac game? I don't think they will. I think that's what they tried to give us in Marvel Spider-Man 2. I think that was kind of the here you go, here's your origin stuff for the Spider-Man character. We don't have to do an origin game now. I think that's what that was. With the flashback scenes and stuff. I think the symbiotes can seal Null like what happened in the comic, or have someone like Doctor Doom to kill Null by taking its power away, says Dominic. If Feige got a street-level movie of Spider-Man 4... what is your favorite Ultimate Spider-Man 2000s issue? The death of Spider-Man has got to be up there. That's one of the best ones. Right at the end. I really like the Kingpin stuff. The Kingpin stuff is good. The Goblin stuff is good. It's fresh. The first Sinister Six story is pretty cool as well. It's my favorite Spider-Man run of all time. But to be honest with you, I think it's good because it's condensed and it's mostly... Ultimate Spider-Man's weird because it doesn't have that many standout issues. Like, if you go, okay, what are some standout issues or a couple of issues from Amazing Spider-Man? I can go, okay, Kraven's Last Hunt, the night Gwen Stacy died, the kid who collects Spider-Man. I can say all these, from the various different 616 runs. I can say all of these. From Ultimate Spider-Man, I can't give you a single issue or a few issue arc where I think, yeah, that's amazing. But what I think Ultimate Spider-Man, the original one, is, it's condensed to 100 and something issues. 50 issues? 150? 130? I don't know anymore. Bloody hell. 100 and something issues. But they're all consistently on a decent quality. And that is unheard of. Amazing Spider-Man has gone from 1963 till now. And some of the issues are god-awful. But some are amazing. But the thing is, most people would agree that that Spider-Man is one of the most inconsistent characters on the planet, and some would even say his comics aren't that good anymore. And forget some of the really good comics he had. But Ultimate Spider-Man is my favorite because it doesn't have a singular great issue, but they're all consistently above par at the very least. So anyway, yeah. Sorry, I went on a rant about Ultimate Spider-Man there. But yeah. Where were we? I think TASM 1 would have been better if they didn't retell the origin, added more to the Lizard story, says Aaron. Are we talking about comic books now? Yeah, we can go into comic books. Let's go into a comic book chat, shall we? Anything you want to ask about comic books? Any discussions you want to have? Ultimate Spider-Man? Let's talk about it. Spider-Man 4 could have been a gang war, like in the comic, teaming up with Doctor Strange and Shang-Chi and Daredevil. Hi Cole, how we doing? Hi Top's problem is that he praises the Raimi Spider-Man movies too much. If it's not like Sam Raimi, he doesn't like it. He has some good points sometimes, but overall his opinions are very biased. That's largely how I think I would feel. That's largely how I think I feel about High Top. I think largely that's how I feel. I do agree what he has to say with the Raimi movies, though. I do agree with that. I 100% agree what he says about the Raimi movies. Because I love them as much as he does. But I think he's overly harsh on the MCU movies. That's, I think, his problem. I think for Mark Bagley should fix the art that Simuel... I can never say the name. Simuel... I butcher names so much. Simulet. Simulet. There you go. Oh, we got that. Did for Ultimate Spider-Man 2000 after he left. Yeah, when Mark Bagley wasn't doing the art, it looked so weird. If Tim Burton made Spider-Man movie, we know he would have chose Green Goblin to be Uncle Ben's killer 100%. Probably. I think that's interesting though. I think that's an interesting idea. I don't know if that's a controversial opinion, but I think the idea of Uncle Ben's killer being a Spider-Man villain, like before they become the villain of the movie, is a really interesting idea. I know it might be a little bit too convoluted, but it ties Peter to the main villain a little bit more. I think that's a really interesting idea. I think it should be explored at some point. The Ultimate comics were mid. I don't think they were mid. I think they were pretty good. But I think on the whole, I think the story is good. Anyway, I don't know. You know, we have different opinions, don't we? I guess. Lewis, have you heard about the test screenings for Captain America: Brave New World? I have, and they don't sound that good, do they? They sound like trash. Have we ever read Ultimate Spider-Man Ultimatum spin-offs? It's probably one of the best Spider-Man stories. Yeah, I read Ultimatum. Ultimatum was weird, but yeah, it was good. It was all right. It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't the best. It wasn't my favorite story, I don't think. Oh, one story that I did love from Ultimate Spider-Man was the Venom stuff. That was cool. The game was amazing as well. I agree with you on High Top Films. I'm still excited for his Jason Todd film. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Do you have a free DC comic books? How do you feel about Greg Weisman comic book that's going on right now? I like it. I'm not really too sure what the question is. I love Greg Weisman. I think he's great. Do you think Ultimate Spider-Man will introduce the Goblin Serum or really go the route of AI corrupting Harry? I think they will go the route of Norman corrupting Harry. I think he's already corrupt, but I think Norman will throw him over the edge, the AI Norman. Have you read Marvel Superior Adventures comics? They're really good. Yeah, I've read the Spider-Man ones. Well, from issue whenever chat got introduced. I got so much slack for that video, by the way. Not slack. I got so much controversy. I had no idea chat was such a controversial character, by the way. And I posted a video on it. Like, I read this once. Someone in the comics, someone in the comments. So one of you guys recommended me that I read Marvel Adventures Spider-Man, right? And I was like, okay, I'll read it. I read it, and I was like, this chat character's pretty good. How come she's never been adapted in anything before? How is she only here? How is she not in, like, the 616 books, Ultimate, a cartoon at the very least? How is she not in any of these things? And I was like, I'm going to make a video about this. I made a video about it. Bro, I got so much controversy my way. Bro, what? I didn't know she was such a controversial character. No one told me. No one told me. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy. You mentioned you hated Peter having a destiny in Ultimate Spider-Man. How do you feel about Peter being at the top of the list? So I hated Peter having a destiny, and I've always said that about TASM 2. That's my issue with TASM 2. All right, that Peter is the only one that can get bit by the spider because of the blood with Richard Parker. And that's kind of how I felt at first about Ultimate Spider-Man. But I now know that although it is Peter's destiny to become Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe, and that is why he is chosen by Iron Man to become Spider-Man in this universe, when you really think about it, it doesn't matter. And this is how I've kind of... What I've justified as getting used to it as is that in the original Ultimate Universe, Peter, it isn't his destiny to become Spider-Man. He is bitten by that spider by chance, right? Now, we're assuming that's the case, but either way, Peter becomes Spider-Man, even if it isn't his destiny. So taking that logic, yes, of course, it wasn't his destiny, but Peter is Spider-Man. So then, Iron Man tells Peter he's Spider-Man. If you get what I'm trying to say, I don't know if I'm making any sense right now, but that's how I justify it. So I don't think it's as bad as I originally thought. And that video I made, I do take it back. I do say I have reconvened that idea. But yes. Sorry I'm late. What's going on here? Well, we were talking about Spider-Man 4, but now I want to have a little bit of a comic chat. My favourite artists are the merchandise Spider-Man artists, Scott Johnson, Mark Bagley, and Patrick Brown. Mark Bagley's great. At least Kraven is rated R. Kind of looking forward to it. Yeah, it's going to be hopefully good. How do you feel when Mark Bagley left Ultimate Spider-Man? He's a great artist. You know, Mark Bagley can't top his art, can you? Tom Holland going to be sitting next to Anthony Mackie watching absolute ass, says Apple. Do you like Greg Weisman's new Spider-Man book? I do, yeah, I do like it. I do like it. I think it's something a bit different. Carnage or Morbius? Who is the scariest? It's got to be Carnage. Lewis, if you were in a room with Sony executives, do you think you could convince them to make Spider-Man 4 street level? You have 1 week prep time. No, I could not convince Sony to do that because I think every single possible convincing point you could give Sony to make Spider-Man 4 street level has already been given by Kevin Feige. I think they've already laid all their cards on the table and they've gone, nope, No Way Home made $1 billion, or $2 billion, sorry, almost $2 billion. Tobey and Andrew, let's go. I don't think they'd listen. I really don't. I mean, I could try, but actually, you know what I'd do? If I did have a week to convince them, what I'd do is I'd come on here and I'd make a video and I'd go, listen, guys. So I've got a week to convince Amy Pascal, Avi Arad, and everyone to make Spider-Man 4 street level. I'm going to need your guys' help. And I think what I'd do is I'd make a poll. Or I'd make some kind of petition where you guys would sign. And I'd take it in and I'd say, look, this is what the fans want. How do you feel about Amazing Spider-Man comic book having a new love interest, forgetting about Mary Jane? I like the new love interest. Obviously, I'd prefer him to be with Mary Jane. But, you know, if we can't have that, at least let's move on and let's try something new. Imagine if they did Spider-Man versus Morlin in the MCU. That would actually be sick, you know. I would like that. I recently read Spine-Tingling Spider-Man and for Horror Story. I love it. The art was great. Love the story. Love the horror tone and think Marvel should do more. I just like Mary Jane be with Paul. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God. I hate this whole mentality about the whole Paul situation. It's so out of whack. Sony Villainverse is probably having their Avengers event in Spider-Man 4 King and Black. Do you think if Venom 3 and Kraven are good, they should continue their cinematic universe? If yes, how? Very loaded question. No. Well, they've said they're not continuing Venom. I don't think they'll continue Kraven with a sequel unless it does really, really well. I think what they should just do is merge with the MCU and then go from there. Peter needs a wife. I'm not joking when I say Peter should just leave MJ. What do you think is the most overrated Spider-Man movie? TASM 2, 100%. Hey everyone, what's up? Hi, Chum the Artist. How we doing? I thought it would be cool if you did videos about it, says Trev. The way you do it about the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book. What needs to happen to bring Spider-Man back to the core of the character without him being multiverse Avengers level, says Monkey Vision, aka Ray in the chat. Excellent question. I want to know your guys' answer. You guys post in the chat. What do you think about that? That's a very interesting question. What needs to be done is I think what needs to happen is there needs to be a story, a fresh story, a story that, has hints of the old Spider-Man, old Spider-Man stories that we all know and love and seen before, but something fresh, new, and interesting, something that we haven't seen before, and it needs to work off the core ideologies of the character. So, go back to the money problem, the underlying theme of Peter's angst, the absolute just, the small problems are Peter's biggest problems. Like the love triangles, the relationships, Aunt May dealing with Uncle Ben's death. We need a show or a movie or something, a cartoon, whatever it is, exploring these themes, but doing something different. Don't give us Green Goblin, don't give us Doc Ock. Expand maybe a villain people don't know. Maybe expand him into a bigger villain, you know what I mean? Do something a bit different. Maybe, like we were saying earlier, expand the idea of Uncle Ben's killer maybe being one of the Spider-Man villains that then ends up to become the villain of said season or said movie. Do something like that. I think that's what we do to bring the core back to the character. Give something new, give something fresh to an audience that are already expecting, something and sort of put a spin on it. But don't touch the multiverse. Touch the core ideologies. Touch the things that people relate to, and that's how I think we get back to Spider-Man. But anyway, I think that's what we do. I think that's what you do. Anyway, yes, we're getting a lot of comments in now. Appreciate that, guys. Hot take: if you make a movie about the hero's villain, it's not mandatory to have that hero in the film. That's not the formula for making a movie. What is your opinion about this? I agree. I agree with that. Hold on, just replying to my fiance who's trying to call me. There we go. Yes, no, I do agree. It depends what though, right? It depends. If you're going to make a movie about Spider-Man villains, you do need Spider-Man, but they need to be spin-offs of Spider-Man. So you need an established Spider-Man, then you can do whatever you want without the hero. I think that's the rule that you do. And we've had a super chat. Just an asshole. Thank you very much for the $10. Thanks for the Spidey content, bruv. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. W in the chat for just an asshole. I love the name. It's great. I love it. That's amazing. I'm going to heart that. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Always appreciate that. Thank you very much. That is awesome. W in the chat for just an asshole. I love the name. That's great. Who do you think is the most underrated Spider-Man artist? Good question. I think Mark Cicchetto. Mark Cicchetto. Is his name Mark? Cicchetto. Whatever his first name is. It's Mark, isn't it? It's Mark. It's definitely Mark. Mark Cicchetto. Hold on. Let me check my... Sorry, I'm just flexing. Checking my Ultimate Spider-Man book. Oh, it doesn't say his first name on here. Oh, damn it. It just says Cicchetto. Anyway, Cicchetto. Very underrated. Obviously, just on Ultimate Spider-Man. So, obviously, like, people are knowing about him right now. But not many people talk about him when we talk about goated Spider-Man artists. Because that is sick. Very underrated. Very underrated. Anyway, yeah. Lewis, if the MCU reboot after Secret Wars and Tom Holland doesn't continue to be Spider-Man, who do you think could play him? If they don't do Miles, what way would they go with his character? Very, very good question. Very good question. I don't know. I really, really do not know. Probably, I don't know. It's a very good question. I don't know. I think the only way forward is Tom Holland, to be honest with you. I don't see another way forward. Zach Knight says, welcome to the chat, Zach Knight. Do you think the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man thing with Doom is related to something they're doing with Doom in Spider-Man 4, since sometimes the comics introduce those ideas before they happen in the MCU? Possibly. That is very, very possible, yes. Will Evans is in the chat. Hi, Will. How are we doing? We need Tombstone and Hammerhead fighting Spider-Man. Lewis, if you could write the current ASM run, what big changes would you make to improve the series post One More Day? Very, very good question. Very, very, very good question. Ooh. Okay. Here's what we do. Here's what we do, guys. This is what we do. Right? This is what we do. This is what we do. You guys pitch in as well. So, here we go. we develop the relationship that Peter has with Shay, because I think the worst thing we could do is completely contradict what has already been set up, right? That's what Zeb Wells did with Nick Spencer's run. Let's not do it again, right? We carry on the Shay and Peter relationship. We slowly but surely break MJ and Paul apart, but we make it good. We show why MJ and Paul are in love. We actually write Paul like a character. We write Paul like a 4-dimensional character, someone who has flaws, interests, hobbies, aspirations, and goals. We make him not so much likable, but we make him an interesting character. We make him a good character, right? We show why MJ loves him, and we show why Paul loves MJ. And then we slowly but surely break them apart. Why do they break apart, you ask? Because of their children. Because they had children that disappeared, and they died right in front of their eyes. That should be haunting them to this very day, and I do not see it enough in books with these two characters. They should expand on that more. So, that's how you break them apart. And then, of course, obviously, eventually, we have to have Shay and Peter break up, but not until Peter learns a valuable lesson from Shay to not lose another relationship again. We reflect on the events of what's happened over ASM over the last 10 years. Peter keeps getting in relationships and keeps breaking up with them. This is the breaking point for Peter, and he realizes, hey, I'm not getting anywhere, and it's sort of a meta thing for ASM the whole time, sort of breaking Peter up with girlfriends. It's a meta thing at the same time as being Peter at the same time as Peter being like, oh no, like I keep flip-flopping. And then we get MJ and Peter back together in a time of crisis. We do a brand new villain. We stop reusing old villains. We make new villains. And then, yeah, that's how you do it. And then we go forward from there. And MJ and Peter get married and have kids. Boom. There you go. Done. Boom. Paul spin-off show? Paul all along, says Monkey Vision? Absolutely. Hi, Xavier. How are we doing? Hi, Lewis. Kind of a general question, but can you give me some storytelling techniques of how to write a likable character, someone who the audience can relate with and sympathize for? A likable character doesn't necessarily have to be a good character. And what I mean by that is a good-willed character, right? Someone who doesn't have to be technically someone who, is good morally. Doesn't have to be like Spider-Man, right? A likable character is someone can generally be described as someone who you can sort of see. You can sort of believe their, I guess you could say, their goals, motivations. Basically gives a character a trait that an audience can attach onto, right? Let's take John Wick, for example. I watched John Wick yesterday, and what's interesting is John Wick is really not a likable guy, but we love John Wick. And you might be thinking, why? How does that make any sense? Well, John Wick murders people. He murders people for a living. That's inherently not a likable trait, and in the real world would make him a terrible person, but everyone loves him. Why? Well, his wife dies, right? Oh, spoilers for John Wick, by the way. It's been 10 years. His wife dies, and he wants to get revenge on the people that did it. We sympathize with John Wick for that very reason, and he has a reason for an audience to latch onto him as a character. We are now rooting for the cause of his success. That's how you make a likable character. And you can do that in any sort of circumstance. You can do that with, you can do that with all types of characters. John Wick is a good example because he is a character that inherently you shouldn't like. You shouldn't like John Wick. He's a terrible person. But obviously, we all love John Wick. We do. And that's the reason why. Anyway, sorry, yeah, bit of a tangent, but that is how you make a likable character. Very general, by the way. There are other ways to do it, subtextually and through visuals and everything else. There's many more ways to do it, but on the basis, you got to nail down a goal. You got to nail down a sympathizing trait. You got to nail down something that aligns the audience with the character, that can make the audience understand why the character is doing what they are doing. If the character is doing what they are doing for no reason whatsoever, we will completely switch off and we won't care. But if we understand, it makes us invested. And that's how we do that. I would love to see Spider-Man Miles Morales have a movie. How about you? I would love that. I don't know, but they were trying to make MJ and Paul like platonic relationship. The problem with characters like Spider-Man, the more you tie to their roots, the more repetitive it gets. The more you derive from the roots, the less that character he becomes. Yeah, it's a fine balance at the end of the day. It's a fine balance. I just watched John Wick yesterday as well. I'm surprised they didn't give Spider-Man a woman that is a superhero like him. Yeah, I mean, that's also something you could do. You could do that sort of thing as well. John Wick would have a good reason to kill someone like the Punisher, but different. Ahmad, I'm so late. Ahmad, you are late. No, I'm going to wrap up the stream in a moment. How about a character-driven emotional story about how Spider-Man will never be able to grow, decades of developments going away in a snap, and the only way he can grow is putting down the mantle. I think the best way to go is forward, not backwards. It's okay to retcon and try to redo some of the events after One More Day, but I think ultimately the way is forward. I don't think we should retcon One More Day. Interestingly enough, I know this is quite controversial, but if I was in charge, I would not retcon One More Day. I would leave it as it is, and I would just move forward. I would just find a way, thematically, to bring MJ and Peter back together, slowly but surely over time, and I'd make it make sense. I would not retcon One More Day. I think that's a cheat code, and I think ultimately it kind of causes the same issue that One More Day did. One More Day meant that, tens of years of storytelling meant nothing. Well, if we undid One More Day, then tens of years of other storytelling would not mean nothing. And some people would say, well, that's okay, because a lot of it was the Zeb Wells run and stuff that we didn't like. But we also had really good stories in there, like Spider-Verse, and we had the Nick Spencer run, which was pretty good. Like, you don't want to undo any of those stories, and I just think the best way is forward. Don't retcon it, but please, for the love of God, give Peter his pre-One More Day memories back. MJ might already remember. I mean, that could be an option, yeah. You could do that. I think that's a cop-out, though. Lewis, I'm taking to this girl right now. Give me some tips. Bit random. Oh God, no. Just be yourself, man. Just be yourself. I don't know. I'm definitely not the best person for dating advice. I don't even know what flirting is anymore. I haven't had to flirt since I was 16, 17. I don't know. I've been with my fiance for so long. Yeah, just be yourself, man. Just be yourself. Yeah, and just keep being you. You're a great guy, from what I know in the chat and talking to you through YouTube. But yeah, what if Peter and MJ remember the events of One More Day, but the damage is done? It'll take a long time to get back together. Yeah. That could be quite good. That could be very good. It could be a good story reflecting on the One More Day events and how much time they've lost. How much time they've lost. That could be interesting. I just think, it's a very touchy subject. You'd have to do it in a very specific way. W healthy relationship, Lewis. Says Flaming Phoenix. Yeah. She's actually, I don't know. Is my fiance? Is she here? She's meant to be rocking up soon. I don't know if she's here. If she is, you might see her come through the door any second now. That'd be quite funny, wouldn't it? I don't think it's a cop-out. So many other stories were erased by One More Day, including the climax. Yeah, but the thing is, it's about do two wrongs make a right. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to get rid of Dan Slott's stories. I wouldn't want to get rid of Big Time, Spider-Verse. I wouldn't want to get rid of Spider-Geddon. I wouldn't want to get rid of Nick Spencer's stuff. I wouldn't want to get rid of I wouldn't want to get rid of Brand New Day. I wouldn't want to get rid of any of that. So, I'd want to just move forward. I would, it happened on a miniature level after Nick Spencer. Nick Spencer spent his whole run trying to get Peter and MJ back together, and then Zeb Wells completely undoes it in the first issue. It's one of them where I think, if we're just going to retcon it, what was the point? Let's continue. I'd rather build off Zeb Wells' run. It might be a controversial opinion. I'd rather build on Zeb Wells' run. I would rather build on what he built. Or the lack of what he built. I'd rather build on the comics that he put out and go forward rather than try to destroy what he did. I'd rather keep Peter with Shay at first. I'd rather keep MJ with Paul at first. But then eventually I'd make it make sense and I would get them together again. But it has to be done properly, I think. I think if we just keep hopping about retconning things and trying to skip to the punchline too early, I think we risk causing the same issue that One More Day did and the same issue that Zeb Wells did to Nick Spencer's run. So Anyway, it might be a controversial opinion, I don't know, but that's what I'd do. I genuinely would try and write Paul as a decent character, one that I think people could take interest in, instead of just being this fill-in for Peter Parker that no one likes because he's a very one-dimensional being. He just exists for the sole purpose of basically just not allowing Peter to be with MJ. I didn't say you get rid of them. I just want Peter to get those memories back and remember what he lost. That would be a cool story, though, Ahmad. I think if you were going to do it one way, I think that would be how you did it. Now, Brand New Day was bad in my opinion. Says lol hi pop. Sorry, I'm really bad with names. Do you know when Amazing Spider-Man is gonna back to issue number 1? Probably after Joe Kelly's 8 Deaths with Spider-Man, I assume. Just erasing everything and giving the fans what they want doesn't make you a good writer. Taking all the failures and managing to make them something great out of them makes you a good writer. Zack Knight, you've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I mean. I'd rather do that. I'd rather, Can you rewrite Infinity War on Lewis Fiction? Oh my god, wait, we've been cut off. Are we still live? Hold on. Is my internet cut out? Oh my god. My page just disconnected. Oh, well, we're still here. Sorry. I thought my internet. I thought my internet cut out. Anyway, yeah. So that's exactly what I'm saying. What was it? Can you rewrite Infinity War on Lewis Fiction like the whole movie and not just Spider-Man? No. Infinity War's fine. Paul should be Mephisto. Says Pizza Time. Peter and MJ are perfect for each other. The writer doesn't know how to write relationships for some reason. MJ is already heavily implied to remember. It would be interesting if Peter somehow remembered and then MJ revealed that she's known the whole time. Would lead to new refreshing drama. Yeah, if you're going to do it, that could be a way to do it. You missed everything, it says Flaming Phoenix. I wonder if Zeb Wells' real life influenced his run. What's a comic book and movie people would be left shocked you really enjoyed? Oh, that's a very good question. I don't know. I don't have that many hot takes. A movie? I think Jurassic Park 3. Everyone hates that movie. I liked it. That's maybe one. I don't know. That's my guilty pleasure. How about a movie with George Stacy and Jefferson Davis investigating a serial killer? By the end, it turns out George Stacy was the killer. That's different. Can you make a new Sony universe on Lewis Fiction, but do it without starting with Spider-Man, says Monkey Vision. I could do that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that. That's a very, very interesting idea. I'm going to do it. It's a challenge because, in my opinion, I don't think that's how it should be done. You should always start with Spider-Man and then go and do the other stuff. That's how Sony should have done it. But that's a challenge because that's going against things that I wouldn't usually do. So, yeah, challenge. I like that. What if Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4 actually happened? We'd be sitting in a very different universe, I think, right now. Lewis, have you watched the Thunderbolts trailer? If so, what are your thoughts? It looks good. It looks good. I'm hoping it's not another situation where it looks good and then it turns out to be bad. I really, really hope it's good. Just saw your MCU fanfics. It's really interesting to see how Marvel would have started out if they hadn't sold some of their characters' rights. Yeah, those videos are a lot of fun. I really enjoyed those videos. Anyway, it's been really, really nice. This stream has gone on way longer than I anticipated, but I'm really glad we did this comic section at the end of the stream. I think we're going to make this a regular occurrence. We're going to do the comic book bit at the end of the stream after the news. Really good debates, really good discussions. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been absolutely amazing. Just wanted to say the Spider-Man 4 release date report is sketchy since the Hollywood Reporter said it's filming early 2025 and the new report says May, says Ahmad. Yeah, it is. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you all for tuning in. And my fiance is here finally. I was talking about you earlier, by the way. Do you want to come in? Are you allowed to show your? You can't show that. There we go. You can't show that. No, there's yeah. I've covered for occupational reasons. We both have jobs that we can't show online. It's not. I've just covered everything with writing on me. You don't show that. Your badge thing. Sorry, can't show that on the internet. It's not allowed. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in a bit. Take care, and peace.